Hi there and welcome to the Demalak Cookery channel. Half the planet at the moment appears to be on low carb diets, and there are one or two in this household that are on low carb diets as well. So I've been asked to come up with some recipe ideas, some low carb recipe ideas. The one we're going to be doing today is loosely based on an old Tennessee recipe. Now for that recipe it calls for catfish. It's pan fried catfish with a poached egg and rocket and tomato salad. I'm not even going to attempt to find catfish in the UK, so I'm just going to substitute the catfish for cod, but it's basically the same recipe. And the spice blend from the Demalak range we're going to be using today is an old Tennessee recipe, which is Memphis Dust, and that is possibly one of my all-time favourite spice blends. Ideal for chicken, for fish, any sort of delicate meat. Very subtle flavours but very Moorish. As usual, a full list of ingredients will be given at the end of the video, so let's have a look at what we're going to need for today's recipe. Okay, so for the ingredients we're going to need a piece of fish. So I've got a small piece of cod here. The recipe, the original recipe says rocket, but I like to make up what is known as a superfood salad. So that's what this is. It's got rocket in it, but it's also got cress, red chard, spinach, baby kale and beetroot. Now you can either make this up yourself, there's plenty of recipes on the internet, or you can actually now buy this kind of thing from the supermarket already done and washed in packets. I'm also going to use some baby plum tomatoes. You can use any tomatoes you like. That's the only reason I'm using baby plum tomatoes is because they were in the fridge. We've also got some of the Memphis Dust, Demalak Memphis Dust spice mix. There's about 5 grams here. There's also 10 grams, roughly 10 grams of plain flour. That's going to be used to dust the fish before we fry it. An egg, and then just some olive oil for actually frying. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is actually season the fish with the Memphis Dust. Now when I see cookery programs and videos on YouTube where people season a piece of meat or fish and then cook it straight away, it just baffles me, because in order to season anything like fish or meat, the seasoning has to be sat on the actual flesh for at least a period of time so it can penetrate deeper than just it from the surface. So what we're going to do with this, we're going to season the piece of fish, we're going to place it in cling film in the fridge for at least 2 hours, preferably overnight, but we haven't got time to do that. So this piece of fish is going to be sat in the fridge for 2 hours with the seasoning on so that it can penetrate at least below the surface of the actual fish itself. So we take some of the Memphis Dust, just lightly dust over the top, turn that over. Same again. The remainder of the Memphis Dust is going to be placed into the flour to season the flour as well before we dust the fish with the flour. So give that a nice seasoning on both sides. Onto the cling film. Okay, so as I said, this will now go into the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours, just so all of those flavours penetrate into the actual fish itself. Then we're going to come back, I'm going to dust the fish and then fry it off. Okay, so while that fish is resting in the fridge, we need to do some prep work with regard to the poached eggs. This is how I do poached eggs. I've seen videos on the internet of professional chefs who create vortexes in the water and put the egg in to try and hold the egg together. I don't do any of that. This is how I prepare poached eggs, and I manage to get perfect poached eggs every single time. So on the actual work surface now I've got a piece of cling film or food wrap. Just going to put a little bit of olive oil in the centre. Okay, and just spread that out. This just stops the egg from sticking to the food wrap. Okay, I take a shallow cup and to take the food wrap and place the food wrap into the cup. And take the egg and just crack the egg into the centre. Then gather up the food wrap into a parcel and then take out as much of the air as possible. If you have air pockets within the food wrap, then what will happen is the egg will float on top of the water. So what we're doing with this, we're creating a parcel, and then this will be dropped into the simmering water for 5.5 minutes. So 5 minutes 30 seconds, and that will create a perfect poached egg and hold everything together. So that if you didn't use this method, or if I didn't use this method, what would happen is I'd pull the egg out and the water would then resemble something like Chinese chicken and sweet corn soup. So with this method, I get a perfect poached egg and I get to eat all of the egg. So it all stays intact. We're going to put this to one side now, and then once the fish starts to cook, we're going to place this into the simmering water again for 5.5 minutes. You have to be that exact, and that will give you a lovely poached egg with a soft centre. So we're now taking the fish out of the fridge. We've let it rest for about 15 minutes just to come up to room temperature. We're now going to dust the fish in the flour, and this flour has had the remainder of the Memphis dust mixed in. Because this fish isn't going to take very long, we need to sort of plan ahead. So we've already got the water on simmer for the poached egg. 2.5 minutes into the cooking time, that poached egg is going to go in. So I figure that this fish will take about 4 minutes on either side because it's so thin. Now I can't give you an exact time on how long to cook your piece of fish. It all depends obviously on the thickness of it, but fish can take anywhere from 4 minutes either side to 8 minutes either side. So from 8 minutes total cooking time to 16 minutes, and it's only sort of down to experience that you're going to be able to get that right. So we take the piece of fish, and I'm just going to dust it very lightly on both sides. Make sure it's coated. Knock off any excess flour, and then place that into the frying pan on a low to medium heat. So 4 minutes into this cooking, I'm then going to turn the fish over, and that should be the fish completely cooked all the way through. So 8 minutes in total. Again, 2.5 minutes into this cooking, I'm going to place our poached egg into this simmering water. Right, so we're 2.5 minutes into cooking this fish. We've got some gently simmering water. Take our poached egg and just place that into the water. And again, watch the clock, 5.5 minutes, this will be done to perfection. So the fish is now ready to turn. It's coloured nicely in that little bit of olive oil that's in the pan. So the fish is now perfectly cooked. And our poached egg
Just snip it. Turn that over onto there. Now it's up to you what you do with the poached egg, but what I like to do is just before I serve it, just make a cut into the actual egg itself, and then just allow the yolk of the egg just to drip over the actual fish itself. So that's it. Pan fried fish with poached egg and a salad. So that's pan fried cod with the perfect poached egg and salad. Really tasty and obviously extremely healthy for you. So as usual, please subscribe to the channel, and if you've enjoyed the video, hit that like button. And one last thing to do. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Thanks for watching.